Okay, boys and girls, so for the book for today, I'm going to be reading Celebrating Food and Family. So for our activity for today, it has to do with the festivals that we're going to talk about in the book. So what I want you to do is grab a paper, grab something to write with, and you're going to divide your paper into 3 sections. So for our first one, I wrote the Yam Festival because that's something that we're going to learn about in our book. And so in that section, I want you just to write 1 to 2 things that you learn about while reading the book on what they do during the Yam Festival. On our second one, I wrote Chuseok. It's another festival that we're going to be learning about. So again, 1 to 2 things that you might learn during the reading about what they do. And so for our third one, that's going to be what you want to write, any festival that you celebrate with your family. So for example, I wrote Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. That's one festival that we celebrate, and that's one that I wanted to talk about. So you can use the Dia de los Muertos as well, or you can write any other festival that you might think of. So throughout the reading, when we go through the Yam Festival, when we go through Chuseok, make sure you write 1 to 2 things on what they do during that festival or to get prepared for the festival. And then we'll talk about all of them together. So, like I said, the name of our book is Celebrating Food and Family. So this is our table of contents. So we're going to talk about, first we're going to start with our introduction, and then we're going to talk about the Yam Festival. We're going to go into Chuseok, and then we're going to go into Sukkot, and then we're going to have our conclusion. Our introduction. People around the world celebrate the harvest season, a time when the crops are ready to be gathered and eaten or stored for the year ahead. In the United States, people celebrate the harvest in November. This celebration is called Thanksgiving. So if you want to as well, you can also talk about Thanksgiving in your section, in your activity. You can write about what you do to get prepared for Thanksgiving or what you do during Thanksgiving. Evan's family goes to Grandma's house. They feast on foods such as turkey and pumpkin pie. Family members tell what they are thankful for, and Grandpa tells the story of the first Thanksgiving. After dinner, Evan plays with his cousins. Yam Festival. People in West Africa and the South Pacific Island celebrate the Yam Festival. In early August, Bem and Said and their parents gather yams from a Nigerian field. It is the end of a rainy season there. Yams are the most common food in these regions and the first crop to be harvested in Nigeria. So on top it says, yams are gathered during the Yam Festival in Papua New Guinea. The night before the festival begins, the children help throw out any yams left over from last year. They scrub all the pots, especially the wooden bowls in which cooked yams are mashed. So in our picture, we have a Nigerian family that are they're mashing the yams. The next morning, they offer the freshly harvested yams to the gods and their ancestors in special ceremonies. This is a way they thank the spirits for a good crop. No one eats any yams until this is done. After the ceremonies, yams are divided among the villagers. Everyone cooks dishes made with yams and other vegetables. The festival lasts many days in Bem and Said's village. So here on top we have a picture of what a yam looks like. And in the bottom it says, at the harvest in West Africa, people dance to celebrate the yam crop. So make sure if you want to, you can pause the video right now and you can write 1 to 2 things on Yam Festival. And so our next section is going to be Chuseok. Like Bem and Said, Sin honors her ancestors. The Harvest Moon Festival in Korea is called Chuseok. Like the Yam Festival, it is celebrated in August. Shin travels with her family to the village of her ancestors. When they arrive, Shin helps the women prepare food. The night before the festival begins, Shin's mother dresses in costume and joins other women in a circle dance. So in our picture, we have a mother sits with her daughters who wear traditional costumes. The next morning, everyone dresses in their best clothes. They visit the graves of their ancestors. Shin carries rice cakes stuffed with sesame seeds. She bows and places her offering on the grave. She says, "Good fortune, ancestors." Her father bows and asks if the ancestors are pleased with him. Her mother bows and tells the ancestors they are happy as a family. So right here in our picture, it shows where they are offering their food, and it says, an offering of food is placed at the grave of a family ancestor. Then there is a feast of fresh rice cakes, persimmons, mushrooms, and chestnuts. They give thanks for the harvest. Shin likes the stories Mother tells of her ancestors. Later, Shin plays a tug of war with friends. She laughs at the men who dress as tortoises. They dance around the village and sing for food and drink. So on top it has a picture and it says, a family celebrates with a meal at the grave of an ancestor. Okay, also right here, if you want to pause and write 1 to 2 things on Chuseok, and then we're going to go into our last festival. If you want to, you can also write about this festival in our last section. So our last festival is Sukkot. In Israel, Abel and Anna have a different way of celebrating the harvest and honoring their ancestors. The celebration is called Sukkot, and it's held in September or October. Abel helps his father build a 3-sided hut in their garden. They make the roof from corn stalks. They leave holes where they can see the sky. The family will eat their meals in the hut for the next week. Abel hopes he can sleep in it at night. Yana comes to help decorate the hut with squash and corn. Father explains why they build a hut. It's to remember ancestors. They built huts in the field at harvest time. They slept there so they wouldn't have to walk so far each day. The hut reminds them of how far their ancestors had to walk on their journey to the promised land. So on top we have a picture and it says, enjoying a Sukkot meal in a hut. There are 7 days of feasting and religious services. Abel and Yana prepare luauls by cutting a palm branch, 2 willow branches, and 3 myrtle branches. Then they tie them together. The family joins other families to walk to the synagogue. They wave the yuval in their right hand and carry an estrog, a citrus fruit, in their left. Our conclusion. When people around the world leave their homes to find new ones, they often take their celebrations with them. Sometimes they find ways to mix old traditions with new ones, but no matter where they are, families give thanks for food and each other. And then you have our glossary. So, if you want to, pause the video so you are able to fill out your activity. So, like I said, for our first festival that we were going to talk about, it is our Yam Festival. So what I wrote for this one is that they gather the yams and then they prepare to make the yams the day before, and the next morning they offer their yams to their ancestors. So this is what I got from the Yam Festival. And then so for our next festival we talked about was Chuseok. So for this one, I just wrote, they help prepare the food, they dress in costumes, and the women join a circle dance. And now for our last section, I wanted to write about Dia de los Muertos, the Day of the Dead. So for mine, I wrote, they prepare their favorite foods. That's what we do. We prepare any favorite foods that our loved ones who have passed away, what they like to eat. So we do that the day of or the day before, and that day of the Dia de los Muertos, that day we visit family members who have passed in the cemetery. So my family does this. We visit anyone that we from our family that has passed away, and we visit them in the cemetery, and we offer them their favorite foods. And then after that, just like how we have it in Corpus, there's many festivals and everyone dresses up and they celebrate the Day of the Dead together. So make sure you write what you did as your festival.